Good evening. Welcome to tonight's debate. The debate tonight is the second in a series of 3 debates sponsored by the Ashland County Young Republicans between incumbent Mayor Glenn Stewart and challenger Mrs. Kim Studeny-Calhoun. Tonight's debate is being simulcast live on AUTV 20 and WRDL 88.9 FM. The broadcast is also being produced by the students and faculty of the Department of Journalism and Digital Media at Ashland University. The topic of tonight's debate is business in Ashland. Both the mayoral candidates will be answering questions and presenting their views as to business retention, business attraction, and the business environment in the city of Ashland. The format for tonight's event will consist of opening statements by both candidates, and both candidates will have up to 3.5 minutes to deliver their opening statement on their vision for business in the city of Ashland. That will be followed by 10 questions that both candidates will have the opportunity to respond to. Those questions were developed based on input from both candidates on topics that are of interest to them. Following questions will be closing statements by both candidates. The order of things will be controlled by a coin toss, which we have already done. Kim Studeny-Calhoun was our coin toss winner, so she will go first on opening statement. She will go second on the first question, and thereafter we'll alternate, and she'll go first and Mayor Stewart will go last on the closing statement. So at this time, we will begin with an opening statement by Mrs. Kim Calhoun.
Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here this evening to discuss the business of Ashland. I have lived 50 of my 57 years in Ashland, having grown up in a family-owned and run business. After graduating from college, I returned to Ashland and started and grew a successful house and office cleaning service for 6 years. After 6 years, I sold the business so I could become a court reporter. That was a dream and then a goal I achieved. I have been a successful court reporter for 26 years. Much of my court reporting business has taken me to large cities and small towns across Ohio. I have watched towns flourish, and I have watched some deteriorate. Ashland's tax base and population have eroded, and that concerns me deeply. I have a passion to grow Ashland into an active and revitalized city, such as some that I have visited. I am currently working with a group that has formed a bike trail. This is just one example of initiatives that would improve the quality of life in Ashland and make it a more desirable place to live. It would attract businesses and people to Ashland. For the last several years, I have worked for the City of Ashland as the City Council Clerk. I see a great need to return to a culture of public service within the city government. City government is here to serve the people. During this campaign, I've spoken to many of you, the residents of Ashland. The theme of many of our talks is that we need good jobs coming to Ashland. In order to get those jobs, we must do a better job at making Ashland a more attractive place to live. We need to refocus our vision on what Ashland can be and work toward that vision rather than being content with the status quo. As your mayor, I will bring energy, enthusiasm, hard work, and dedication to the office of mayor. I will not accept favoritism. I will do what is best for the residents and businesses of Ashland. This is not a retirement job for me. This is my passion. I have listened to the concerns of many Ashland business owners and safety services. Some of their concerns are that the city needs to collaborate with our own Ashland County 911 dispatch service rather than collaborating with the city of Worcester. I firmly agree. I have heard frustration over the decision to take away the 42-250 bypass. I firmly agree. I have heard concerns about traffic, bottlenecks, and congestion. I firmly agree. I have heard from business owners and truck drivers about transporting freight efficiently. I firmly agree. And I have heard from school bus drivers who have safety concerns as they haul Ashland's most precious cargo, the very future of Ashland. I firmly agree.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Stewart.
Thank you and welcome all of you. It's great to see such a good turnout this evening, and I'm quite pleased that Ashland University has been seeing the availability of live TV for our community this evening. I want to start out by telling you a little bit about myself. Many of you have already heard some of this, but my wife and I have been in Ashland since 1966. We raised 3 of our children here through the public school system, and our grandchildren have gone through the school systems here. And in fact, we still have some in the public schools here in Ashland. I worked 33 years for General Motors. Most of those years were in Mansfield, Ohio. One of the things that I actually feel very good about, and many of you who have been around for a few years remember the huge presses that we hauled down 71 and took into the Mansfield stamping plant. That was a $600 million job in Mansfield, Ohio, of which I had the privilege of being the project manager for that horrendously large job. We added 400,000 square feet to that plant. We brought in 21 or 22 major transfer presses, and we took out 51 presses out of that plant to make room for these huge presses. Unfortunately, through the automotive business and so on, that plant is now a pile of rubble. I'm not very pleased about that. But I want to share with you the management skill that I have had the privilege of developing through GM and my life with GM. Following my retirement from GM, I went to another small automotive supply company in South Carolina, spent several years there, went back to Detroit, worked out of Detroit, then I took a job with another firm in Atlanta for a short period of time, and it just seemed like it's getting time to retire. And so I thought I was going to, and I had an opportunity to work with a firm in Wellington, Ohio. And that was another job of tooling engineering and vice president of that particular operation. I share this with you because I have private sector business experience, real business experience that we worked with other companies, we worked with other countries, and it was a tremendous opportunity and a learning experience for me. I want to share with you that I believe that Ashland does have a good business climate. It is available. We have 160 acres left in our business park. There are 430 jobs in that business park today. Look back 10 years and tell me how many jobs were in that park. We have redeveloped the Walmart area with employment-based companies. There are about, I'm pulling this off the top of my head, but about 120 jobs in that Walmart plaza and another 73 across the street in the former Hydromatic facility. We have a climate here. We have brought companies in. We saved 200 jobs at Archway. 200 jobs kept from going out the door out there. I did not do that, but I put together a heck of a good team that was successful and had done that, and it is healthy for our community. I thank you for the time this evening, and thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Stewart gets the first question tonight. Mayor Stewart, how do you plan to support existing businesses in the city of Ashland?
The businesses that are supported in the city of Ashland, there are several areas how we can do that. I work with the Main Street, Ashland Main Street, which is the fundamental and basic retail area that's being restructured. I think that has a great probability of coming alive. We will be talking about it Monday evening at a Main Street meeting, looking at the first plans, and the consultant has brought back to the city to see what it might look like. We have, as far as business climate here, we have worked with numerous companies on the ground that they may need for expansion or building new facilities, again in the business park. We have worked with those that are out at the Walmart area in making sure that the infrastructure was there and satisfactory for redeveloping that area. Supporting downtown is a continuing process of a team. Supporting the entire community is a business process of a team. I look at economic development, the chamber, myself, and other community leaders to keep Ashland alive and continue the growth or regrowth. We are not going back to the 1950s, but we're going to go back to a healthy community in the very, as far as I'm concerned, we're on that track right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Calhoun, how do you plan to support existing businesses in the city of Ashland?
As your mayor, I plan to develop and nurture relationships with Ashland's business leaders. I will listen to their needs for growth. And for example, I have to say 42250 bypass was needed and requested by our business park leaders of those businesses. Your Ashland, your elected officials did not listen and have decided to not keep that bypass. I will support the needs of the businesses in town and stay in contact with not only the business leaders but the employees and work with them on how they can do business networking, stay connected through the Chamber of Commerce, stay connected through community events, make sure that they're included and feel included in the community. And of course, I will always encourage buying in Ashland. If we have businesses that are owned in Ashland by people in Ashland, we need to buy Ashland and we need to support that. We need to have you all support that as residents or encourage you to do that. And I would also encourage your local government to be doing that. We have computer businesses in town. We have office supply businesses in town, and I want to encourage all of us to be buying Ashland.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Calhoun, question 2, what is the best strategy for attracting new business to Ashland?
The best strategy is to emphasize location, location, location. Toledo, Columbus, Erie, Cleveland, we're in the middle of that. We have the assets that businesses need. What they are asking for, and I spoke with the mayor of Athens, Ohio. He had some site selectors come to their town, surprise them. Those site selectors wanted to know what the bandwidth was of our sites. They didn't want to see any of the other things in Ashland. They wanted to have information. Bandwidth, railroad spurs, transportation, highway access. What's our electrical capacity? What's the housing stock? We need air. What can our Ashland airport provide? They want air transportation. Tax abatements, and they also want to have you, the community, train their workforce. We may have a lot of jobs, we don't have the workforce, and we need to be able to have we need to plan to be training the workforce to the specifications of the jobs that are needed.
Thank you. Mayor Stewart, what is the best strategy for attracting new business to Ashland?
The strategies that have been played out with several new businesses are a direct link with the business owners or their site selectors, showing them the opportunities that we have in this community. Mrs. Calhoun mentioned airports. We're in the middle of 3 of the finest airports in the country, Columbus, Akron, and Cleveland. They're all within approximately an hour. We can land anything that flies in the Mansfield Airport. We have airport capacity for any business that needs to come or wants to come to Ashland, Ohio. I think communication with those site selectors and ultimately the business owners is a key process. I was directly involved with the Novatech owners when they came here. I was directly involved with the Barbasol firm when they came here. I was directly involved with the redevelopment of the Walmart area. I think direct involvement with the mayor, and I always try to include the chamber, and economic development. We must put on a single face. We must have a single voice when we talk to these folks. We want to give them the best we have, and we want to have a continuous and constant message with the people that we work with to bring into Ashland, Ohio.
Thank you. Mayor Stewart, what role does the business park play in the big picture for economic prosperity in Ashland?
The business park was a vision of our former mayor, and it has played out very well. As I said a little earlier, there are 430 jobs currently in the business park. We have developed or brought in a firm, Ashland Conveyor, was in the county. We brought them into the city. Novatech, which I just talked about briefly, they are a spin-off, if you will, but a new firm that took a piece of the former Hospira production and saved it in Ashland. They started with 25 people. They're now up in the 80s. When we talk to Barbasol, they started out in the 25 range. They've all grown. They've grown well and developed well. Ohio Electric Control around the corner and up on the hill, they were among the first to be in the business park out there. We have had huge development, or expansion I should say, building-wise from Lippert Industries. They also picked up a Hospira building that was vacant in the business park area. So I believe that we have the tools, I think we have the facilities, we have the infrastructure in most areas in the city, but primarily in the business park, we have good infrastructure and space and access to the highway. I want to speak to the 250-42 intersection. That intersection was designed and proposed by professional traffic engineers at ODOT. We had three options that we finalized and came down to. I must say that, and I don't blame this, City Council voted 3-2 for the intersection that we have, and that great intersection. City Council voted 4-1 to fund that part of it that we have to fund. So I think it was well played out. There was a lot of interplay with the various entities that use it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Calhoun, what role does the business park play in the big picture for economic prosperity in Ashland?
The business park is a huge asset to Ashland, and I'm very grateful for, I think it was Bill Strine, the mayor, who had that idea, had that vision, and he made that vision come true. One of the things we need to be doing is marketing that area. We need to market this community for its location, and we need to market the industrial park. One of the things we need to have in place is to make sure that we have the job base, the workers, and the educated workers and trained workers in this area. A way to do that is to have a regional collaborative educational training organization. Part of that is filling the needs gap for jobs. There are businesses that have specific needs for their companies. We need to promote that we will provide and guarantee for you a workforce, a talented workforce, a workforce geared to your needs, your specific needs for your business. That's what we need to make sure that we have together, and that will bring businesses to Ashland. People don't have that. And if we have that, we can promote businesses. They want a place where they can have the workers, and they want a place where they have shovel-ready sites. And the Ashland Business Park does have shovel-ready sites.
Thank you. Mrs. Calhoun, describe how you believe your previous work experience has prepared you to be a business-friendly mayor.
Oh my gosh, that's just a wonderful question, and I thank you for that. I am a relationship person, and I am about being inclusive of businesses, did you say about businesses or?
A business-friendly mayor.
Business-friendly mayor. People come and talk to me. I'm extremely approachable, as many of you know, because you come and talk to me. And I grew up in a family-run business. We were all about customer service. Even if it's not your job, you still do it. You take care of people. And even right now, during this campaign, at the fair. I get calls constantly. My flyer has my, my cell phone number on it, and I'd like you all to have that. It's 419-564-3377. You can call me and you can ask me questions, and so can the business community. They come up to me and ask me if I have any ideas for their needs, and I do. And if I don't have that information, I will go to the source and I will get that information for them. If I don't have the information and if I don't know what their requests are, I will absolutely be getting back to them and giving them the information. Thank you.
Mayor Stewart, describe how you believe your previous work experience has prepared you to be a business-friendly mayor.
Well, I have to thank you for that question too. I've been in the private sector for many, many years. I've had the opportunity to work in city government for many years, and I have been exposed to the various activities and the development processes of bringing business into Ashland, Ohio. You find many, many different personalities, and you have to be very flexible. You have to understand that they're going to be right. And so you have to figure out a way to make them right in their own way and still be within the bounds of what you have to work with when you're trying to work with a business. We're not always right, but we can work around and work with those people so that we are a business-friendly and flexible community, and I guess I want to say administration. I've had the opportunity to live in other communities, and Ashland, Ohio is a friendly community. I've had the direct experience of being in communities that they're just not like Ashland. So I think the personality of Ashland rubs off on anyone that comes here. I think it rubs off on anyone that wants to do business here. And I've not run across a business that has come to Ashland that says, gee whiz, we should not have done that. It's just the opposite. They are quite pleased, and they're very pleased with the reliability of the workforce we have. They're quite pleased with the business or work ethic that our workforce has. We are short of trained people. We need to talk to the educators and how they are attempting to educate, but when they come to the job interview process, there are other issues, ladies and gentlemen, significant issues.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Stewart, considering that there are over 160 acres available for development in Ashland's Business Park, describe what you believe is a viable way to price the ground to a potential developer.
Well, the way we have done it since I've been mayor, and when former Mayor Mr. Strine was still in office, we talk to the individual firm that wants to locate, and we find out how many jobs are they going to be able to provide. We look at the density of the jobs per acre. Now, maybe that's a foreign term to many people, but we're interested in jobs. We're not interested in selling an acre per job. If we can get 50 jobs an acre, that's phenomenal. If we can get 25 jobs an acre, that's good. But we look at the firm that's proposing to come to Ashland, and we ask them, what can you assure us the first year? And that goes, all of that information incidentally goes with, if they request a tax abatement, we need to know all of that information. But the land is basically priced on the individual firm and how many jobs do they want, or can they assure us that they will bring with their firm when they come to the city. We want as much as we can get out there. We did not buy that farm to profit from selling ground. We bought that farm to provide an area for new industry, new manufacturing and processes. And so far, I think we've done pretty well in that respect. I will not quote prices because each firm has paid a little bit different price for the ground that they have out there.
Thank you. Mrs. Calhoun, considering that there are over 160 acres available for development in Ashland's Business Park, describe what you believe is a viable way to price the ground to a potential developer.
I wouldn't have any knowledge on how to price the ground, but what I would do is consult with the Council for Economic Development. They would have the information. CIC, Community Improvement Corporation, has the detailed information, and it's a group of people who have the knowledge, have worked with these companies or worked with the business that have come into town, and they would have that information as far as pricing. But what I would want to make sure is that we are proactive in providing a packet and information that has a checklist, has a contact people, a point person. I want someone to be able to follow people through from beginning to end. I bought the land, I'm building my building. Who do I talk to? I don't want anybody to get held up on any state permits, city permits, or any permits. I want them to be able to have a continuous flow to make sure that their business that they put on that ground is going from beginning to end in the best schedule possible. And of course, there are always delays when they're building things. But we need to make sure that we are there, not necessarily hand-holding, but doggone it, if we need to hand-hold, I want them to be able to call somebody, and I want them to know what they need to do and make sure that they are not going to be delayed, and that we will have the jobs in the area and in that business park and in that business that came and is counting on Ashland, and that we're counting on them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Calhoun, what do you believe are the three most important things that Ashland has to offer to businesses considering relocating to Ashland?
Location, 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 but that's one. I would say that it is the businesses moving to Ashland. Is that what you said?
Yes,
Locating
considering
to
relocating.
I want to say we have friendly people, but that's ridiculous because I doubt that anyone could tell us any communities that don't have friendly people, right? Everybody's friendly. But I feel that we could have, we are a community that has potential for cohesiveness, but we are going to have to stop moving in silos with our own agendas. And that's what I see happening. I feel certain that as your mayor, that I could bring inclusiveness into this community and bring a community that is about the growth of businesses and the growth of of people in Ashland and forming a better quality of life. I feel that that's huge for me. That's who I am. I am out there reaching out to all the people, and it's not, I don't care what party you're in, as long as you are just a person that cares about Ashland. We want to grow Ashland and have businesses here, and we want to have a very good quality of life in Ashland. And that's what I'd be interested in, and that's what I could bring to the office of mayor in Ashland.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Stewart, what do you believe are the three most important things that Ashland has to offer to businesses considering relocating to Ashland?
Well, number one, obviously, is a shovel-ready site, of which we have that. We have the infrastructure that's at that site. We have access to highways. We have access to 250. 250 will take us to 71. 71 can go north or south. We can go a little bit south beyond 30, a major east-west highway. We can go north beyond the turnpike. So we are centrally located traffic-wise or transportation-wise. We are also very well located with the three airports that I spoke of earlier. I think that we are very, very receptive to talking to companies about tax abatements. Tax abatements are a no-no to some people. Here's my view on a tax abatement. Getting a little bit of something is better than all of nothing. So if we give someone a 50% tax abatement for a few years, whether it's 5 years or 10 years or whatever the case may be, we're getting something. If we give them no tax abatement and they go somewhere else, we didn't win, we lost, because they're gone, the jobs are not here, it's just a total loss for us. So my view on tax abatement is that it needs to be looked at very, very seriously, but again, a little bit of something in the beginning is far better than a little bit of or all of nothing. I think that the people that we work with here. And when we worked with a couple of the companies, we the city and the Chamber and Economic Development, we were able to assemble 5 banks to help finance one of the major companies that came to Ashland, Ohio. We have access to our business leaders. Our business leaders respond to the Office of the Mayor, the Office of the Chamber, and the Office of Economic Development. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Stewart, you just touched on this in part, but how important are tax abatements as an incentive to offer to potential businesses?
Today, it's a competitive way. If you don't offer it, your neighboring community will. If everything else is equal, the business is going to go where tax abatements exist. We are in a society of give me, and tax abatements are give me. Give me, not give me. But when we look at that, that's the way business is today. So I still favor a very serious look at tax abatements. I think we need to look at the percentage and the duration, and that's something that we do on a regular basis. And here again, we work with the Chamber, we work with Economic Development, and incidentally, when we sell land, we do go through the CIC. The CIC has the authority to sell city land without going out through the bid process. That's how we're able to sell land in the business park. It is a statute that's set up by the state of Ohio, and we use it. It's a very handy tool to have so that you can sit down and negotiate with a firm, establish a price, and the CIC handles it in a business-like manner. So I don't know that everyone knows that, but that's one of the major attributes for the CIC in the city of Ashland. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Calhoun, how important are tax abatements as an incentive to offer to potential businesses?
I don't think it's an option. Businesses want to come to town, and they have us right where they need us, and tax abatements are a given. So what we need to do is work to make sure that when we give tax abatements, that somehow there is an arrangement worked out that the school taxes are made whole. The schools are made whole. We don't take the money away from the children in the schools. For a competitive market, tax abatements are there. What we need to do is make sure that we cover the rest of the things that a business needs, which is making sure that we have the access to the highways, that we have a development training team together to work with educating their workforce. At the end of the contract of the abatement, we need to make sure we write in that that business cannot leave for a certain period of time, because businesses will take the abatement, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, you take the abatement and then they decide that they're going to move to another community who really, really wants them to be there, and they're going to give them another tax abatement. So written into the contract has to be that they stay within a certain period of time and pay their taxes, or they lose the abatement.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Calhoun, in your opinion, what kinds of businesses is Ashland best positioned to attract? For example, larger employers or smaller employers, retail or manufacturing?
Manufacturing, we have manufacturing. And I can't stress this enough. Go drive on 42. Hedstrom's got jobs even. They just don't have the workforce. So we've got the opportunity to have manufacturing business come out to the industrial park. And Hedstrom wants to expand, and they can't, or whatever divisions are. I know they want to grow, but they can't. They don't have the workforce. We are positioned to downtown Ashland. If we could get that going, restaurants downtown. I mean, the things that you need to have businesses that have 10 to 15, 20, 25 employees rather than a huge one, because that's if something happens to that business, then we lose a lot of employees. So several businesses with anywhere from 10 to 25 employees. Manufacturing, the reprocessing of plastics, and I want to say putting raw plastics into recyclable material, that's a business that we could have, and we have one that does that for that PVC pipe. But I'd like to see other types of plastics be able to be put into recycling. So we've got the land, got shovel-ready sites. We have open buildings that have opportunities for businesses to move in. And so we can be ready for whatever businesses would like to take a look.
Thank you. Mayor Stewart, in your opinion, what kinds of businesses is Ashland best positioned to attract? For example, larger employers or smaller employers, retail or manufacturing?
I think that Ashland is prepared to actually attract most any industry. I can tell you that through the Chamber and the Economic Development, there are activities going on today that are not public knowledge. And those activities include a wide range of, from, I just can't say, but it's not metal manufacturing, let me say it that way. We have a range of manufacturing and processes that are looking at Ashland today and have been. We may not land them, but I can tell you that we are constantly working with them, trying to develop what they really need. So in some cases, a business, they really don't know what they need other than they want to grow. And that's a challenge for economic development, myself and the Chamber. To help them grow, they need to know where they're going. And that's a challenge, believe it or not. I want to speak to the workforce. There are lots of people unemployed in Ashland, Ohio. There are lots of jobs in Ashland, Ohio. There's an issue with being able to qualify for the jobs. I've been very reluctant to say this, but there are drug issues in Ashland, Ohio that keep a lot of people from becoming employed in the current job openings. A lot of rejection because they cannot pass a drug test. We need to help our family members that if there's an issue, there are ways to get them back on the right track. But the people are here, they're just not able to qualify for the jobs, and a lot of entry-level jobs.
Thank you. Mayor Stewart, what is your vision for the relationship between the Office of Economic Development and the City of Ashland?
Well, I don't think it's a vision. I think it's what we do today. There are very few days that go by that the Kathy Goon and I are not on the phone or talking with each other about various issues that are at hand. We're just hand in hand. The difference is she's across the street, we're across the street from each other. So we work very closely together. We work in concert to make sure that we have the same information so that, you know, occasionally you'll get more than one person from a firm calling and asking questions. You have to make sure you're all on the same page when you respond, because these are serious issues that people are asking about. So Kathy and I we're in tune together and work together with those firms that come to us. The Chamber of Commerce plays a major issue in working together with us. I want to go back, if I may, to Archway again. When we were notified that Archway was closing, the Chamber, Economic Development, and the Mayor's office were in concert and together immediately trying to find out what do we do to help these people. We do work together in this community. And we work together with, well, we were working with Senator Harris almost on a daily basis, trying to get his input on what we needed to do. Archway reopened, and there was a lot of effort put on by this mayor, the Economic Development Department, and the Chamber of Commerce to make that happen. And I'm pretty darn proud of what happened. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Calhoun, what is your vision for the relationship between the Office of Economic Development and the City of Ashland?
I'd like to address the Archway almost leaving, because I do have to ask the question, why weren't we proactive in developing relationships with the people at Archway and knowing that they were having concerns with their company, that there were problems, and that they were deciding to leave? Why didn't we know that? Our government didn't know that because we don't develop relationships, or perhaps just didn't for that company. But that is a huge problem, and that's why we have to keep in contact with companies and business owners and all people in the community. The relationship between economic development and the city of Ashland. It's a collaborative partnership between private and public organizations. They work together. They should have a shared vision. They have a mission statement that is a bit interesting if you look at it, and it probably could use some tweaking. The city provides to the economic development. We provide a portion. They're funded by a Mohican Area Growth. I'm talking about the Ashland Area Council for Economic Development. Mohican Area Growth, the county, and the city, and then we provide office space. I would like to see us getting more bang for our buck. See that we are, maybe have a little more transparency in that area and see where economic development is going. It does seem to be a bit private, and I understand the need for privacy when we've got businesses and transactions in the works. But I just would like to see and know a little bit more about what's going on. But it is a good collaborative, and I strongly I strongly feel that we need to stay with that program.
Thank you. Mrs. Calhoun, how do you think the City of Ashland has done in retaining and expanding businesses in the recent past, and would you propose any changes in the way the Mayor's office works to retain businesses in Ashland?
Again, I have to go back, retaining and expanding businesses. I don't think we're really listening to our businesses, and I really want us to be able to do that, do everything we possibly can. You can't fix everything, but I really want to be listening and hearing the needs of those companies. The thing that I would do differently is make sure that out of my schedule as mayor is to make sure that I am connecting with the businesses in Ashland. And it don't have to be all the Chamber of Commerce business. I want to know all of them. And my proposal is that businesses, if they would like to be contacted by the mayor, that they send in information, and then just to be fair, I mean the small ones, the smallest businesses to the largest businesses, the mayor would come and then put on the website, I visited such and such, and I'm going to pull out Raindrop because I think it's a cool business that I'm not sure if people know that we have a company in this community that builds those fountain parks that are at the Kroc Center. I think that's fascinating, and I went to the company, and I love it that we have that in Ashland. They're worldwide. I want people to know that. I want them to go to the website and say the mayor went to Raindrop. You wouldn't believe this company that we've got. Or I want them to say the mayor went to the Troy Road Market. Look who's here. Look what we have to offer. That's how I would support businesses. Was that the question?
Thank you. Mayor Stewart, how do you think the City of Ashland has done in retaining and expanding businesses in the recent past? And would you propose any changes in the way the Mayor's office works to retain businesses in Ashland?
Well, I would like to respond to that, but I wish all of you could come in and look at my calendar. If you think that I'm not going anywhere and not going out and visiting people, come in and look at my calendar, please. I want to talk about retention. Raindrop was that close to leaving Ashland, that close. And through a collaboration of another major entity in Ashland, Ohio, and their contact with the actual owner of Raindrop, we had communication, and Raindrop stayed in Ashland, Ohio. When we look at the Ashland conveyor, they were outside of the community. We brought them inside. When you look at the Walmart redevelopment, they could have gone anywhere. There are hundreds of Walmart plazas across this country that are eyesores. They stayed in Ashland, Ohio, and developed what I think is a very pleasant and attractive business area. When we talk about retention, it goes on all the time. And when we talk about communication, if anyone knew, and I'm going to go backwards a bit, if anyone knew that Archway was in trouble, the bankers didn't even know it. They just closed the door. Their employees came to work and their doors were locked. It is not a communication problem between my office and the businesses in many cases. There are businesses that approach us that need capital for expansion, and that's a whole different story. And we work with them through CIC, through economic development, and through other funding methods. But we do stay in touch with our companies. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, both candidates will have 2 minutes to present their closing statement, and Mrs. Calhoun will go first.
Thank you. Music to my ears, the conclusion. The leadership of the City of Ashland will have a great deal to accomplish in the next decade. My goal and my passion is to lead enthusiastically and to make Ashland the best it can be. Educating a skilled workforce, attracting families and businesses, and increasing Ashland's tax base will improve our community. City government must work together with county government despite past differences. We must communicate to move forward for the better good of Ashland. I will be a leader who is strong enough to make long-term decisions to support a shared vision of Ashland. As your mayor, I will be listening and encouraging collaboration, forward thinking, and a sense of mission. I agree with Edward E. Gordon, author of Future Jobs. He was at the Renaissance last evening, went to speak with him. Communities that collaborate will attract new businesses and retain current ones. Those that don't will wither and die. We need a new image for Ashland. In order to have that image and a positive impression, some things must change. We cannot be content with the status quo. It is time to make Ashland a place people want to live and a place where jobs enable families to enjoy a good quality of life. Thank you very much for coming this evening to be involved and informed voters.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Stewart, 2 minutes.
Thank you. I want to share with you this evening that my experience for the last 5 years and 10 months as your mayor have been very rewarding to me. Rewarding in the fact that I have been able to participate in some rebirth of manufacturing jobs in Ashland, Ohio. I have been able to be here and see some cleaning up of some of the areas, and again back to the old Walmart area. I've been here to see the home of Barbasol, a worldwide known product that's made here in Ashland, Ohio. I've been here to see companies move into Ashland. I've also had the terrible experience of seeing Hospira leave. That's not something that we could go to the corporate decision makers and keep them from moving that process out of the country. But what I want to share with you is that I'm very, very interested in our community. And again, look at my calendar. I do talk to people. I do talk to lots of people. I do have an ear, and I have listened. I think there is room for improvement in every aspect of everything we do. If you cannot improve, then you're, as Mrs. Calhoun just said, you'll wither and die. But I expect that we will continue to grow. We're not growing 500 employee companies. We're growing some very small companies. Some of those seeds that are planted today and have 25 or 30 or 50 employees, one of those 15 or 20 companies may become the next F.E. Myers of Ashland, Ohio. Not tomorrow, but they're on the way. We will have growth from some of the very successful companies that we have in Ashland today. Thank you for joining us this evening, and thank you for hosting.
Thank you. You have been watching AU TV Channel 20 and also listening by way of WRDL 88.9 FM. I'm Andrew Keller, moderator for tonight's event. At this time, I would like to thank both the candidates for joining us for tonight's debate. Also like to thank Ashland University for providing the venue for this evening's debate. Also the Ashland County Young Republicans for sponsoring the debate. A special thanks to our newest member, Lindsay Queen, for keeping time for the candidates tonight. Also, I would like to thank the students and faculty of the Department of Journalism and Digital Media here at Ashland University for tonight's production. The third and final debate is scheduled for October 24th, 2 weeks from tonight. At the same time, it will be held at the Ashland University's AUTV television studio live. Due to space constraints, there won't be opportunity for a studio audience, but we do encourage you to tune in to AUTV 20 as well as WRDL 88.9 FM on the radio. And with that, thank you so very much for attending and watching by way of AUTV 20 and on the radio, and have a good night. Thanks a lot.